If you are tuning in, you are probably a business owner, an aspiring business owner, or a seasoned business owner, okay? Which means, like myself, you probably have tons of things to do. So I am not going to make this live very long. I'm going to get through it. There will be a replay on Facebook as well as Instagram, and there will also be one on YouTube. And you will be able to listen to this information on our podcast, The Brand Unveiled. So you can get this information, replay it, share it with people that you think may be advantageous to know the knowledge, whether it's your teammates, other business owners, networking groups that you're in, or if you just want to play it back for yourself. You have many ways to do that. All right. So today we are going to be talking about the do's and don'ts to running your own business. My name is Brianna Regine. I am the founder of Brianna Regine Visionary Consulting. We are a strategic communications and marketing agency helping to build brands with creative strategy as well as operational services in the entertainment, lifestyle, and beauty spaces. Okay. Last year, I came on live a bit with these BRBC lives, just giving you guys some insight on anything from branding tips to PR tips, marketing tips, business operation tips, to even just being transparent. And in 2020, I'm going to be doing these a lot more. I know I said that last year, but I'm serious. I now have an executive assistant. Okay. Claps for me. I have an executive assistant who is going to help keep me accountable, and she is becoming an essential asset to my business system, which we're going to talk about a little bit today. So there's going to be more consistent lives. There's going to be consistent YouTube videos, consistent blog posts, consistent podcasts. I definitely know on the podcast back in October, I said, stay tuned for the next, episode coming out the following week, and it never came out. So just like you, I am I am enhancing and improving my business system so that way we can move closer to automation and overall efficiency, not only for our clients, but internally as well. So today we're going to be talking about 3 main principles, epiphanies, breakthroughs that I have experienced myself as the CEO of my own business. Running your own business is not easy, okay? And actually in the last live that I mentioned, that I did a few months back, I'm pretty sure I got this question asking, how did you know you wanted to take the leap of faith? What did that look like? And I remember saying how important it is for you to at least run your business for a year. Like, touch all parts of your business. Outward facing stuff. So if you are, B2B, what does the work with your clients look like, right? If you are B2C, okay, well, what does the customer experience look like? And how do I consistently put myself in the customer's shoes to enhance their experience? If you are bookkeeping as well, if you are designing your own website and trying to figure out what the website experience is, if you are managing your own social media, right? If you are dealing with client complaints, if you are doing the day-to-day administrative stuff, you should become familiar with all aspects of how your business runs, so that way you know how to ask for help and you know how to figure out the help that you need, right? If you start a business and you automatically go and look for a team without having any knowledge, either A, from running a business yourself, or B, being involved in enough businesses and business environments and ecosystems to kind of know what level of expertise you need, you're gonna be in shambles. So it's very important that you know how to identify what you're looking for, right? So BRVC has been around for about 3 years now. 3 years and some months officially, like on paper, but to the public, we won't be 3 until February 6th of this year. And I'm going to show you 3 things that I've learned, right? So the first thing I kind of touched on a little bit, know when to delegate. Okay. Don't try to do everything by yourself forever, because that's not going to work. Okay. So I just said at least spend a year figuring out the key parts of what makes your business run. Okay. So that way you know how to delegate help, get help. Okay. But don't be in year number 5 or year 10 or year 15 and you're still trying to do everything. It's not gonna work. The system is going to fail. Eventually, the business is going to reach such a plateau, or if that doesn't happen first, you're going to become so stressed out. And that is a solid example is, typically the clients that I work with, they haven't began the process of building their team, or if they have, it's in the beginning stages. And part of my job, aside from, brand strategy and publicity, operations, all that good stuff, is to be a consultant. And how I view consulting is beyond just giving business advice or counsel, if you will, but it's also being an open ear for the moments that aren't so high, the moments that actually suck. And so there have been times where I've had to, comfort my clients, and I have no problem doing that. In fact, that's why I think they enjoy working with my company. But just letting them know, like, yeah, you feel stressed out. You have every right to feel stressed out, but really ask yourself why you feel this way, right? Why do you feel like you're not meeting your margin? Why do you feel like you're falling short? And 9 times out of 10, it's been because they're stretched too thin. Okay, so know when to delegate. You can't do everything by yourself, so don't do that. And do find ways to then build your team, right? Especially if you are cut short on money and paying people. Interns are a great way to, still get things started, which contributes to the overall path of progression. You can also barter services, look at your network and see how they are able to assist you and get things done, meet you in the middle. You can't be a 10 at every, service that you offer, or the production of a particular product or the development of a particular product can't be a 10 throughout the entire process of building the product. Okay, so find opportunities to network, get creative with how you hire your help. Okay, so second overall tip for when it comes to running your own business is set the tone. Okay, whatever culture you want your agency to have, you have to realize that you are the first person to set that example. Okay? And sometimes, especially when we start to bring on other people to work with us and build our team, we can get a little bit, lackadaisical with that. So yeah, set the tone. When you say you're going to do something, when you create or behave in particular patterns consistently, that's going to be picked up whether you realize it or not. So then you're like, okay, well then what do I do? You have to find a balance. Okay, so for example, if you want your employees, contractors, subcontractors, strategic alliance members, whatever, if you want people, let's say, to feel like they can come and talk to you about anything, like there's a level of transparency that you really uphold in your business, which is one of our main values, right? You don't want to know too much. Like, you don't have to know their life story, because it's still work. right? And you don't want to make it seem, especially when it comes to meeting deadlines and having particular priorities, you don't want to make it seem like you will take a certain level of transparency that may be borderline an excuse for actually getting the work done, right? So really tap into the culture, the behaviors, the expectations that you want to set within your business, and know that you're the first person that has to set that example. For another example is, we're a millennial agency, right? And just like how I'm talking to you guys right now, I come off as very personable. And I had to learn last year, especially for my interns, us being pretty much around the same age, you have to establish a level of, okay, I want you to be comfortable talking to me, but I don't necessarily want you to feel too comfortable. So you have to create a balance, okay? That's not to say don't become close with your employees, but just be mindful of, what it is that you're presenting to them and how or how not that is accepted in your company. And then the last thing is overall compromise. Part of running your own business is realizing that no one's really going to work as hard as you. It's just an honest fact, okay? And that's not to say that your team will consist of, or your team will not consist of hard workers who, are giving their all. You just don't want to expect too much from your team. And I'm not saying that you should downplay their efforts and their hard work and their expertise, but on the other side of holding too high of an expectation is being a perfectionist, right? And those two things go hand in hand. So it's sort of like, don't hold too high of expectations. Another way to say that is, don't prioritize perfectionism. Prioritize the priorities. Okay? So in life, we have to choose our battles, right? Not everything is worth escalating, okay? Not everything is worth putting as much time and energy into as something else. The same thing goes for your business. You have to know when to fold, when to fold them. And again, that's not to say to let, important pillars of your company be downplayed or not valued to a high standard, but you have to know when to keep the progression going versus taking every opportunity to either incorporate a teachable moment, or just coming down on an employee because they didn't put a period on the meeting notes. You know what I'm saying? Like, say it to them once, say it to them twice. Okay, if they don't get it, then what does that mean? What's the best way to go about, correcting that without putting so much stress on yourself, who is a perfectionist? So be sure to find that balance. See you. So for those of you who are just tuning in, I just went over the 3 things you should keep in mind when running your own business, aka the do's and don'ts to running your own business. The first one was know when to delegate. The second one was set the tone, aka whatever culture, whatever aesthetic, whatever mission, values that you want your company to uphold, know that it comes from you. First, you set the example. And the third thing is knowing when to compromise, aka prioritize priority, not perfectionism. Hopefully that puts things in a bow. And I thank you guys so much for tuning in. I will be back next week at 7. Hopefully I will have words this time and I'll have a little bit more fluency. It's the first live of the new year. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll see you guys next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Keep kicking butt. Thanks for watching.